What is up, my andronauts? In this video, I'm going to talk about Damiana, how that affects aromatase, dopamine, sexual function, and all of those kind of good stuff, and how you can benefit from having this herb. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, be sure to get my ebook on how to maximize your testosterone naturally. If you would like to do coaching with me, links are in the description below. Let's dive in. So this is a fun fact for you. The traditional use of Damiana in Latin America encompasses usage as an aphrodisiac, a tonic, and for the treatment of diabetes. So Damiana extracts with tequila are allegedly used as love potions. So if you want to try this out, this love potion with tequila and Damiana, try agavero. And it might just give you that nice boost you and your partner needs. So in terms of aromatase, the methanolic extract demonstrated dose-dependent inhibitory activity on the aromatase activity. Amongst the 24 tested compounds in Damiana, pinosembrin and acacetin showed the most potent effect. So you can see Damiana extract, the stronger the dose, the more significantly it lowered aromatase compared to control. And they compared this with another aromatase inhibitor drug called aminoglutathione, however you pronounce that. So Damiana does have potent aromatase inhibitory effects, especially if it's rich in acacetin. So some people might think that Damiana also has estrogenic activity. So estrogenic activity was also observed in the extract, and three compounds, these three, seem to have slight estrogenic effects. So interestingly, it was this pinosembrin had the aromatase inhibitory effects, but also slightly estrogenic. Now, I'm pretty sure these phytochemicals aren't nearly as potent estrogenic as actual estradiol. So if you are particularly sensitive to phytoestrogens, perhaps give a skip on Damiana, but be sure to give it a try first to actually see how you respond to it, because there's a lot of great benefits to using Damiana. First of all, lowering aromatase, and we know that a suboptimal testosterone to estrogen ratio is not good when it comes to libido, mood, erectile function, body composition, and so on. In terms of sexual function, Damiana increases nitric oxide and restores sexual function in sexually exhausted animals. Increases number of mounts in a dose-dependent manner. So they use sexually exhausted animals as equivalent to someone with a very long refractory period. So let's say you can only have sex once a week. That's when you have libido. You almost qualify as someone with a long refractory period or as a sexually exhausted animal. And so the study have shown that this was sexually exhausted, this was sexually experienced. This group that had sexually exhausted with Viagra, and this group was sexually exhausted with Damiana. How Damiana was almost the highest dose, was just as effective at restoring sexual function in sexually exhausted animals compared to Viagra. Now, keep in mind that in animals, Viagra seems to enhance sexual function, not as much in humans. It doesn't really have that great of a dopamine or a libido boosting effect, whereas the Damiana has a strong stimulatory effect to enhance libido. Right, so Damiana might be better for libido in humans. In terms of dopamine, Damiana contains acacetin and acacetin 7-methyl ester, which inhibits monoamine oxidase B. So acacetin is 4 times as potent inhibitor of monoamine B than the methyl version, but it only has a 2-fold selectivity over monoamine B than monoamine A. So monoamine B primarily breaks down dopamine, monoamine A primarily breaks down serotonin. Right? So if you have a selectivity over, like B over A, you will get a greater increase in dopamine than serotonin. So acacetin, the primary one, the normal one, was very good at inhibiting monoamine B, but it only had a 2-fold selectivity of the B over the A. Whereas the methyl version had a 500-fold selectivity to monoamine oxidase B, which is higher than Deprinyl, which is also known as selegiline or Zelabar. Now, both acacetin and the methyl version is found in Damiana. So if you just take Damiana, you might get a very potent dopaminergic effect. Also, Damiana shortens the refractory period probably by increasing dopamine and norepinephrine. So the effect of Damiana was compared to a reference drug, the 2-adrenergic antagonist euhimbine, which has been reported to reverse the sexually exhausted state. So it might work through a similar mechanism without that same jittery, overstimulating effect that you might get from euhimbine. So what happened is that, again, they used sexually exhausted animals, and here you can see there was a refractory period, how Damiana significantly shortened the refractory period and also increased the mount frequency, the sex frequency, and so on. and also the ejaculation frequency of these animals. So it has a very good effect at increasing libido and shortening the refractory period. So there is no evidence, as far as I know, of Damiana on testosterone, but it might increase testosterone by inhibiting aromatase. So specifically, if you're someone with a high estrogen to testosterone ratio, you might benefit from an aromatase inhibitor like Damiana, which will help to restore that ratio, as well as increase dopamine and norepinephrine, and help to increase your libido and to help to shorten your refractory period. So I've personally not used Damiana before. So if you've used Damiana before, please let me know in the comments what your experience has been with that specific herb. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Hope you found it interesting, and I will take you in the next one. Cheers, guys.